Hey there, Enlighteners. This is Nicki from Enlighten My World. The reading you're about to see is actually from October's new moon in Scorpio. And although I know readings to the collective are timeless, so whenever you stumble onto this reading is when you're supposed to get the message. For me to put the video out is actually very late. What happened was Spirit came in very strong and kind of surprised me while I was videoing. And not only did they have so much to say that they made the reading very long, but it took me forever to film it, so I had multiple clips because they kept zapping my battery completely. And I'd have to wait for it to fully charge, start filming again, and within 20 minutes, the room was so filled with spirit that they'd zap all my battery again. So it was a strange phenomenon. It was very validating and kind of cool as far as spirit goes, but it kind of skewed me away from wanting to actually put the reading out there because there were so many clips. It was hard for me to put it together properly for it to sound good and for everybody to get what they needed out of it. However, over the past few weeks, Spirit won't leave me alone and they keep nudging me. So, last night I couldn't sleep. I'm guessing the messages must be for some very specific people and very important to get out. So for those of you who were guided to this reading, whenever you were guided here, I really hope it is meaningful and important for you to hear. There is a lot, so you may want to feel where in the reading you are guided to listen, or maybe even just listen to the whole thing, because that might be for you. Like I said, there's a lot. Spirit was all over the place, which I usually can rein in, but there was just so many in here. I hope you get something out of it or just enjoy my rambling on. However, it may benefit you. So please subscribe, share, and like if I resonate with you. Lots of love and make your day amazing. I hope you enjoy the reading. Welcome to Enlighten My World TV. I'm Nicki, an intuitive medium, teacher, spiritual coach, awakening facilitator, empath, starseed, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff. Today, I'll be doing October's new moon in Scorpio reading. The decks I'll be using, I will put in the drop-down box below for you to learn about or purchase yourself. Also, if you would like to book a personal reading or learn about any of my services and Enlighten My World services, please email me. I will also be placing my email address in the drop-down box below. I do things a little bit differently than you might see other readers do. So first, I will be doing a general reading for anyone, all who resonate with this energy. It's a general message specifically from Spirit for this new moon energy during this time from now to the end of October. And it doesn't have to be for right now. This is timeless, though it is for the Scorpio new moon. So the Spirit message and or the continuation messages that I also will be doing will possibly resonate with your past situations, what's going on in your present or your future. I personally like to take notes for myself and then reflect back after the whole reading on my own. It's common that during a reading you forget things that have happened, things like that. And I noticed that things also may start to unfold from a reading as my week progresses. And that's just me personally. So Following the general reading, I will be doing 3 pick your topic readings, and I'll put the timestamp in the box below for each of those, because maybe only one of these areas is really pertinent to you right now. So number 1 will be about your romance and love life. Number 2 will be about your finances and career coming up into this next period. And number 3 will be about family, friends, and your children, if you have any or want some in the future. And anything that pertains to your home and family life. Okay, so please feel free to listen to all 3, or 1 or 2, or however works for you. I will be reading from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck to get just the energy around what's going on right now in your life and for you. Just want to understand where we need to focus. All right, that one popped right out. Okay, clean it up. So, what that tells me right away is, well, it can mean many things. First of all, it's 21, which reduces down to 3. What I'm sensing from that is the overall energy is that you do have some work to do. You do have things you need to do to, as it says, clean up. It could be literal cleaning up. Maybe this is time for you to purge your house, take some trips to the thrift store and drop off some things there. But it also can mean people in your life or relationships in your life. If there's someone you haven't spoken to in a while and maybe things have been uncertain of what's going on with them, it might be time to reach out to them. If there's some bad blood between you and a family member or a friend, this might be time to clean that up and fix that. And it can also mean from your professional world or your finances, that you may need to look into something, look into where you're at and where you want to go. So this is a time of organizing, a time of purging unneeded things, unneeded people, unneeded relationships, and really taking a good look at what you then have left over and how you're going to utilize that. The next deck I'm using is Earth Warriors. This is a stunningly beautiful deck that my good friend Haley has lent to me. She's one of our Enlightened sisters on Enlighten My World TV. And what this is going to give us is what you need to really focus on right now. Okay, this may help in those extendeds too, to kind of give you an idea of where you should go if you haven't really thought about it. You're like, I don't know, they're all important. This may give us an idea of what's more important. So let's see what we got here. Oop, I got 2. All right, and they popped out at me. So these are just beautiful. And I'm not as familiar with this deck, so I am going to look at what the book says as well. But you've got number 8, which is Ulauka Vaini, and she who rides the owl brings justice. Okay, so that's the first one. And look at all those colors and just how stunning. So as I'm reading, I'm a teacher at heart, and I really encourage anyone I'm reading to also start to develop their gifts, because if you're drawn to get psychic readings or anything in the woo-woo world, odds are you probably have a latent gift there if you don't already know about it. So I always say I am not, some special oracle lady with the crystal ball. I'm more like the telephone, okay? And I just have a gift that enables me to interpret as I get these cards, and I also get spirit talking to me and channeled messages. So I just happen to be the translator or the telephone. You're the true psychic. This is your message that you're meant to get. And so you may see things that I don't. There may be a word I use just to get a sentence out. Sometimes spirit will give me a sentence, And I have no idea why I'm saying it, but it may be something in that sentence or a phrase that is pertinent to you. You needed to hear it. Maybe you heard those exact words in a movie an hour before or in a conversation you had earlier. And to me, that would be Spirit absolutely giving you confirmation to pay attention to what that phrase means to you. Also, there's a reason that we like to use oracle cards. There's a lot more messages within the pictures of the card than you get in general tarot cards. So, looking at these, you have two very spiritual animals. The stag itself, which is in our Clean It Up card, is an extremely important, although that might be a moose too. Either way, those animals symbolize spirit specifically and the divine masculine. They also symbolize strength and stability. So that might mean something to you. Also, if you look here, she's holding an owl, and she who rides on the owl and brings justice. So I am getting a very strong energy here, going back to Clean It Up, that this might relate, and like I said, depending on your situation, because it could mean a lot of things. But personally, I'm feeling that this does have to do with a relationship. Or a situation involving people, and it could be at work, it could be in your family life, where you have to clean up a past situation to even out the balance of justice, okay? To make things just. It doesn't mean go out there and be a vigilante. This is more, what part can you play in that role to make things better, to make things more just in this situation. Okay, the other card that popped out with that one is Kunter. Excuse me if anyone knows how to pronounce these things and I'm totally sabotaging them. I'm trying my best. So this is Kunter Yakak, which means blessings from the son of Hana Pacha, and I'm definitely going to read that. That is number 18. It's also another beautiful and colorful card. 18 reduces down to the number 9, and don't think I haven't noticed here that you have 2 8s, which is beautiful. So number 18. Let's see if I can sabotage and damage this name anymore. Kunter Yakak. The condor swiftly brings the will of Great Spirit to earth through the gift of powerful medicine, despite great odds, even in the face of what may appear to be an inevitable defeat. Extraordinary triumph is at hand. This is the prophecy of resurrection, of the rising up of what was thought to be lost. It shall happen with unexpected and surprising swiftness. Your divine destiny is now held in the guiding hand of the great spiritual master. Ooh, that is really intense. I love that. And I notice this one is a condor. So now you have 3 very strong spiritual symbols and spiritual animals in all 3 of these cards. So I'd say that the earth itself is speaking to you right now. It wants you to ground yourself and call on its power. The power within this beautiful planet. If you are feeling down, or if you're feeling empowered and you want to focus that power and empower yourself so that you can do these things. And again, after reading this, he's talking about something that you thought was once dead, something you thought was gone is now being risen up of what was thought to be lost. So again, I really do have an energy around this being around a situation or a relationship, maybe a love relationship, it may be a familial relationship, but I definitely have a strong sense that there was some misunderstanding somewhere in your life, in a situation, in a relationship, and you do need to step forward in order for justice to happen. You're going to have to do the work to clean it up a little bit. That doesn't mean, we'll get into it with our extended readings here in the pick a topic, but it definitely is showing me that, you know, you were feeling something was gone, something was lost, and this is the time to resurrect it. It never was lost. And that you do have the strength within you to do this. And every one of those cards, those are animals of strength and wisdom, all three of them, and the divine spirit, and of action. So I do feel that there's something you may need to do. That doesn't mean, you know, burst into someone's office or make a phone call or a text right now. What that's telling me is that you have to take some kind of action. So let's find out what further action we need to take here. And doing that, we're going to be reading the Sacred Earth Oracle. And this is another one that is just a stunningly beautiful. The art in this alone, I could frame every one of these, is so stunning and beautiful. All right. And this is what is leaving or releasing from your life right now. So that's what we're going to learn from the Sacred Earth Oracle. What is leaving or releasing from your life right now? Spirit, what do you want us to know here about what is releasing from our lives in this time of the Scorpio new moon? Woo! Oh my goodness, half the deck just fell out. All right, well, I'm just going to take the top one from that. So we have clarity here. Clarity. Another, look at how beautiful that card is. And again, she has a bird on her head. Can you see that? Can you see that? She has a bird on the top of her head. Another, oh, and there's a butterfly in there. Oh, I see such beautiful things in there. And it looks like a geode she's holding down there at the bottom, and she's kind of like an earth spirit. So definitely the earth is talking to you. And I know I used the Sacred Earth and the Earth Warriors cards, but if you look more through those cards, some of them are more abstract. Things like that don't necessarily stand out as much, but the the wisdom of the Oracle deck, a lot of those don't have connections to the earth. So we're going to have to delve further into this and find out what needs grounding. I do get a very strong energy that you want to maybe look into some Reiki or healing practices, meditation, where you are releasing things from your root and sacral chakras, that the pain and a lot of the work that you've done over the past month or so is about gone. It's about done. Now, it never truly goes away, just like a scar. You know, the injury heals, the wound heals, but the scar is left over, and every once in a while you touch that scar and you notice how sensitive it is. But the actual wound or injury is healed and moved on. But I definitely, I'm being told that there's some releasing, healing that you need to do. So though the wound may have healed and you may have had a dark night of the soul recently, or just been doing a lot of shadow work, you do need to release that energy from your physical body. So though you may have purged the wound and things like that, it's the same as irrigating an actual wound. You know, you may have started taking the antibiotics and you may have gone to the doctor, but you still need to clean that wound and irrigate it and put some neosporin on it. Antibacterial salve on it. So that's kind of where you're at. You have done the healing process. You have started it. You have antibiotics in your system. However, you still need to clear the dirt and leftover from the boo-boo from your body. Sacred bath, which you should do anyway for the new moon. It's a great time and a great place to use that energy, to soak in that energy, while also releasing the negative vibrations and the negative energy that is attached to you. And if you've been doing a lot of purging work, we may not see it or feel it in, you know, the depths of our earthly body, but it does still linger. Remnants still linger in our etherical body. So doing some Reiki or getting some Reiki done to us, if you do not practice that, some releasing meditation work, nothing crazy. I'm talking, this is surface here. This is definitely surface. A lot of work has been done in recent times here with you guys, and it's beautiful, and you should be so proud of it. But you do still need to tend to that wound until it's completely healed and scarred over, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. I do have also on the bottom of the deck dependability. Okay, so we're talking about clarity. To me, that's telling you, or saying what is leaving or releasing from our lives right now. So if there is a situation that we have to clean up, that we have to clean it up in order to bring justice to it, knowing we have the strength within us from the sun, and in order to see that it is not gone, that it is not, something that is passed from our life, that it is still lingering there and ready to be brought back into our life with loving arms, we need to do that cleaning process. We need to reach out to somebody or journal, something to somebody about something to get that process going in our mind, which is going to then release all of that and give us the clarity that we need. Okay? And dependability was there too. And I'm bringing that up. I wouldn't normally do that. But this is another beautiful card. Okay? And I'm seeing that maybe we're coming from a time where, now I was going to say from my own head that we're coming from a time of being too dependent on others, and that's what's releasing from us, and we're now standing on our own. But what I'm actually getting, what my angels are actually telling me, is it's the opposite. What's being released through this cleansing process, okay, through the equalization in this justice here, okay, rising from the ashes, what we thought was gone, what we're going to see is that we've been too isolated. We've not been utilizing others. We've not been leaning on them. We've not been depending on those who are in our lives and who love us. And so in this time of clarity, we can now lean on others. I'm really getting a family situation here. And like I said, that might not be true for everybody, but somebody specific out there, you definitely want to look at reading number 3 when I do that, because I'm getting that there may have been a family squabble, and maybe you weren't speaking to, or at least not speaking to as much as you used to, someone in your family. It could be your spouse, it could be your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, someone who you deeply cared about and deeply depended on. And I don't mean leaned on them for financial support or anything like that. I mean depended on for your soul's journey, someone that you could talk about these things to, someone who maybe was more open about spirituality and understanding awakening, and maybe on the process with you, that for whatever reason you thought that you were in a fight with them, or that they didn't care as much, and so you hadn't been depending on them as much for your spiritual growth. Not that you need somebody for your spiritual growth, but they were somebody who you were on the journey with. And by being on the journey with them, you kind of grow together. It's that best friend energy. And I know my mom is my best friend, or one of my best friends. So I really get a strong sense for somebody out there that this is someone you're very close to, not necessarily a romantic relationship. That may not be for everybody, but I feel like there's a few people out there that I very specifically need to say, you need to clean this up, because you need this other person for your awakening, because it's a joint journey. You can awaken on your own, but whatever you're harboring, whatever that's in that etherical body, any of the boo-boo dirt that's left over, may block you from awakening. Where if you clear the air and you get to come back together and realize that there really wasn't that big of a problem or that big of a deal in the first place, that then you can awaken. So though you awaken on your own, that is your journey that you're meant to do and your growth, but it's not going to happen until you clear this air and have that support again. And that's for you. It's not something you're not going to live without. You can choose to forget it. I'm not going to after what they did. I don't know what happened or what transpired, but it's definitely something that you can release, and you will feel so much lighter, and the air will be cleared, and the scales will be balanced, and you'll what you thought was gone, it never has been gone. It never went anywhere, and it comes back and it rises even stronger, and you're stronger for it, and therefore able to evolve even more and awaken even more in this long process. I call it my spiritual adolescence that we're going through. So I'm going to get into the tarot, okay? And then we'll get into those more specific readings, all right? I read tarot very traditionally. It's how I was taught, and it really is a vehicle for me. Sometimes I don't even read the cards. It's just the process of me putting them out that starts my mojo going. So if you notice I just start talking and I'm not talking about the cards, it's because Spirit is talking to me and channeling through me. The deck that I'm using and I have used for the last 20 years is the Gendron deck. To me, it called to me one time in a store, and I just had to have it. And it has been my companion and helped me grow all this time. So got some wonderful messages from our tarot here from Spirit. I am a medium, as I said, so I will let you know if, because the room is full right now, so I'm guessing there's a lot of people watching this. It's actually really hot in my room, and there's no heat on, and it's kind of chilly because it's rainy out and a fall night. I was chilly in my room, but I'm actually getting hot right now in my room, so that's always one of the first signs, and then the hairs on my body start standing up, and ooh, okay, so oopsie. I hope you can see all these in the camera. Okay, so that's a lot better. I wanted to make sure you could see the whole spread. There are 3 aces in this reading, and that is amazing. So you definitely are in a place where there's a new start happening. Something new and wonderful is happening, and I feel that because of what you have released and what is happening in your body right now and in your mind, the work that you have done in the very recent times has really paid off, and this is the time of manifestation for you. So it's in multiple facets of your life. So maybe that's why I was supposed to do the pick a topic reading, because it had to be specified separately, because so many wonderful things are going on right now. Wow. So first, let me tell you that whatever this situation is that we spoke about before, there is an immense amount of love there. The love has not gone anywhere, and I have to tell you, as an empath, I get very strong emotions sometimes when I'm doing a reading, and this is overwhelming me, okay? So excuse me. But it is so beautiful what I'm feeling right now. And this is embarrassing because I'm trying to get this out for you. So I'm going to tell you, now this isn't going to resonate for everyone, but those of you who this does resonate with, this relationship that I'm seeing from the past, this person has passed. They are here. And their energy is here. Because there's multiple people here. So if I'm talking to you and those of you who it's not resonating for, I apologize. Please hold on a second because Spirit really wants me to get this out for whomever I'm speaking to. They want you to know that though things weren't resolved when they passed, that their love for you has never died. And that they are guiding you through this process. And when I said that you needed them to awaken, it's because they've become your guide. And they just want you to know, that they are with you always. And that they never felt the animosity that you thought that they felt, that they never rejected you. It was just their way. And they said if they were still on this plane that they would say they're sorry, but they understand now that the way that they were needed to happen. That they personally wish that it didn't happen that way, but it made you a stronger person, and you know that. You know that it made you a stronger person. And they just want you to know that it is all good, that they love you so much, and they have never gone anywhere, okay? They've just gone out, but they are still with you. And they're with you when you're in the car and you hear a song come on and you are reminded of them. They want you to know, that may have happened to some of you today, I'm actually getting, that was them. And for some of you still, there's, this is the time of year where it's fall, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. And I'm on the East Coast of the United States, in New Jersey. So it is fall. A lot of the plants have died. You're not seeing as many bugs, and definitely butterflies are, not as plentiful as they were a few weeks ago, a few months ago. Only mums and things like that are alive. So they want you to know, this may be a thing between you and them, that you're going to see like a dandelion wish, the little fuzzy things that you see fly in the air. They are typically a summertime thing, but when you see that, that is them letting you know that they are there, and as it's a wish, they are there helping you manifest. And I see right here in the present time that you are thinking about this relationship. So now I'm getting more information coming in. They're kind of bringing me in because there was spirit here that really wanted to get that out. But they're bringing me back to the more general part of the reading, which I'm thankful for because that was overwhelming me a little bit. And a lot of what I was just feeling, for those of you who resonated with this person that wanted to come through, that the energy and the emotion I was feeling was theirs, that's what they wanted to express to you, okay? And their messages to you, what they're going to share to you, will come through in these symbolic ways. Okay, back to the rest of us. So, that doesn't change the fact that all these awesome, wonderful things are also happening, and that we are being guided by Spirit too. And those who have passed on, who love us, some of which we may not have even met in our current lives, but they knew us, maybe when we were babies, or maybe just in preparation for us to be born. But they are with us, and all you have to do is ask. All you have to do is ask. They really, now our family members, they'll still try to act regardless of if we ask them to or not. But angels and guides and things like that, we really do have to say, please, please Archangel Michael or whomever you may pray to or speak to, I need your help right now. I'm asking for your help in this situation or all situations, and you'll see something happen immediately. Okay, moving on. So, great things happening. I'm not going to go into this card here, the Princess of Wands, because I have a very specific energy I'm getting from this, though the Princess of Wands can mean multiple things. I'm holding off because the energy I'm getting is corresponding, I think, to the more specific topics that we'll be speaking about next. But just look at this. Look at this. This is the Nine of Cups, okay? Nine of Cups. Wishes come true. That's where you're at right now, okay? We just can't see it. So this is about faith, okay? This is about seeing clearly, okay? We come back to I know you can't see them right now, but cleaning things up so we can see clearly, okay? Evening the scales. So if it is someone in spirit that this relationship was with, they're letting you know that the scales are balanced. It just doesn't look that way to you. And the cleaning up you need to do is in your purging. And maybe that's what you have been purging over the last few months. Maybe that is what has that little bit of residue left over that they're saying you need to clean up the boo-boo dirt with. There's definitely some reminiscing going on right now, okay? So those of you who resonated with what I just said, that's where that's coming from. But some of you, you feel that there's a lost opportunity. So right now, though there's new beginnings happening, for some of you, some of the new beginnings have already started and maybe you just don't see it yet. Or maybe you're aware and you're just a little scared and unaware. Okay, and I do feel that those new beginnings are in the abundance sector of your life. So, however that may look, but you're thinking, oh, if there's something I didn't do, there's something I could have done differently, and I think that's where the clean it up card here in our Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Okay, the energy is that spirit telling you, no, you did it. You need to clear off the excess stuff. You need to do some physical purging, straighten things up, clean things up, whatever that might mean to you. And then what's left, you'll be able to see that, no, okay, I'm good. I know what to do next. I know that I'm in the right direction here. I know that, I didn't miss out on anything. That there's nothing for me to feel worried about that I could have done differently. Now, we have the Tower card here. And usually people are like, no, when they see the Tower card. Oh, no, why is there the Tower card? But I can definitely tell you in this particular situation, this is Spirit's guidance to you specifically for these upcoming weeks to let you know that things are going to be a-changing in a good way. You are starting over fresh, okay? You're down to the foundation. And to me, that sounds frightening because I'm like, what about all that I built up? But this is what was built up. This is the unhealthy things that were built up. That's what came crashing down. It already came crashing down. And you're about to start new and see things clearly. And I don't know if you can see, but here's the Hanged Man, and the Hanged Man is here again in this particular Tower card. And if you look up here, this is the Seer, and she is the one putting the lightning bolt, which in this case, and I like to think of as the lightning bolt of intelligence, spark of wisdom, and we go back to wisdom, we go back to our great owl here, and we see that through the seer, through your intuition, through our internal selves, our divine feminine, we are able to see. That's what broke it down. The purging and the work that you've done etherically, your spiritual work, okay, is what has made this building, the things we built up that were not necessarily healthy for us, that's what has been broken down. That is what was cleared away, and we thought, oh my gosh, but now I killed everything, that was sacred. But no, you didn't. So that was completely insane. For those of you who are familiar with working with spirit, when there's a lot of spirit energy in a location, in a room, sometimes crazy things happen, like batteries going dead and watches stopping, light bulbs blowing out, things like that. So before I started this video, I had a full charge, and right where you saw the video go out, it turned off because the entire battery was drained. So when I told you it was hot in this room and it was full, you guys had a lot of loved ones in this room, okay? There was a lot of people here. I've since cleared the room. They may come back in depending on how much they have to say, or if they feel that you got their message, those of you who needed it. So I hope you did. It's always really positive for me and affirming for me when I feel spirit come through in such an intense way, and that was very intense. I wanted to point out one more thing before we move on. We were talking about our tower moment here, which isn't actually your usual scary tower moment. Hopefully I refocused so you guys can see everything, because I also when I went back realized, but I think the message was more important than if you can see the cards or not, so I hope you don't mind. It's difficult because my son is downstairs making all kinds of racket, so I chose to do the reading in my room when normally I have a setup downstairs where I do personal readings. This Five of Cups here, okay, what it's important to see about that Five of Cups is that's you right now. That is not, oh my gosh, I'm in this Five of Cups energy. It's just where your mind is because of the purging that you've done and this new energy that's coming about. You're aware, you feel it, you know that things are starting new. You know that you've done a lot of work and you're starting to see your manifestations unfold, but it's not substantial yet. It's not right there in your face where you can be like, all right, I am on my road. Maybe in some ways you can, but in other ways, maybe where you feel a little bit more insecure, a little bit more fearful about moving forward, it's not so reassuring for you yet. Okay, so it's Spirit's way of letting you know you have done the work, the purging has happened, excess, the building that was rotting and had dry rot and all that has been demolished and pulled away. That good foundation is still there for us to start building anew, and they're here to help you do that. So your feelings of, am I doing this right? What do I do next? Oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. How do I know what my next step is? I got a plan. Let me take notes. Let me make lists. Let me write stuff down. Rah, rah, rah. That feeling of unsureness and anxiety and, did I do things right? What about this option? Maybe I should have chosen this. I made the wrong choice. Those are all feelings that are up there in your head in so many different ways, and all it is your normal new start. Whenever we start a new job, you're the little fish in the large pond all of a sudden again, when maybe you came from the smaller pond as the big fish. Just remember that, because we've all come from that at some point. We've all been the bigger fish in the smaller pond. Maybe you're getting married and you're getting the absolute normal developmental phase of cold feet. Maybe you've been planning to have a baby, and now you realize, now it's been confirmed and you're pregnant and you're like, oh my God, am I going to do this right? I can't do this. What the heck were we thinking? Why? I'm not ready for this. Or, right before your baby's born. We all go through that. That is absolutely normal. Maybe you've made a decision to move to a new job and you've given your old job notice. Or maybe you've decided to venture out onto your own, which is horrifying, and you're not quite sure when do I tell my old job that I'm done? When? I don't know when. If I do that, I'm going to be making all kinds of mistakes. Maybe it's you know it's time to break up with a relationship. You know, you're right there. That relationship is pretty much over. All you have to do is take that next step to end it, or maybe you have ended it. There's so many ways that there's three aces, and that's just so positive. But at the same time, with all these new beginnings, it's scary. And this is a time, if ever, to be dependent on the divine. You know, be dependent on the universe, God, angels, whatever you call it, whatever you put your faith into. It's time, knowing that they're going to be dependable, knowing that they're with you. The people that you can lean on, or you know you can lean on in this life, it's time, maybe get some positive feedback. Know that their support is there for you. And let that carry you to your next step. And in saying all of that, I'm going to close out this part of the general reading. Some of you may want to stop there because you got enough information, or what you needed you received, and that's wonderful. So if you did, I love you very much, and I hope to see you soon. Please check us out. Hit subscribe. I assure you we have some really, really fun videos to come. We plan on showing you all kinds of really cool things to expose you to and show you how to integrate these practices into your regular hectic parental life, or just you work so much, how do I add these things in? We at Enlighten My World want you to feel balanced. We want you to awaken with us. We want you to help us to enlighten the world. And so we have a lot of fun things to come. So I'm going to stop there, and I will see you in a minute as I get us ready for our number one pick a topic, which is love and romance. See you there. Okay, welcome back, and welcome to our pick a topic number one, which is for those of you who wanted to delve deeper into your romantic life. That could be for those of you who are currently in a relationship or even married. It could be those of you who aren't sure how a relationship is about to progress, or those of you who are seeking love. So however this resonates for you, and like I said before, if it doesn't, then maybe you're meant to listen to one of the other two pick a topics, or maybe you come back on a different day and see how our next reading resonates with you. But I hope it does, and I do feel that the energy of this reading has been so positive and so just full of love from above, just full of love, that I'm actually very excited to share with you and find out what Spirit has to tell us in regard to your love life. So what I've done is I've pre-chosen, just because this reading could go on for 8 years, some cards from some decks, which I will put in the drop box below for you. Wisdom of Love, or Whispers of Love, Oracle deck, which is a beautiful deck. I typically would have used Doreen Virtue's Angels of Romance deck. However, that is now out of print, and I have lent my copy to a good friend of mine, and she's using it for her growth purposes and things like that. So I was like, I need a new deck that pertains to love and romance. I came across this one, and it is just beautiful. The artwork is beautiful. Hopefully in the future readings I'll get to share more of this deck with you, but today we'll only be looking at one card, but you are more than welcome to check it out yourself, like I said below. Okay, so let's see what this has for us. Okay. Appreciate this moment. Every situation is an opportunity to grow and find love. Now, I'm going to lay everything out first before I move any further with interpreting, because we already have our original cards that correspond with this reading too, the first part of the reading, and I have the tarot cards over here just in case we need to reference back to them. So this is a letter that was channeled to me, through me, from specifically, it seemed like it came from Angel Jophiel and Angel Shamuel. If you're familiar with the archangels, they are two that bring joy, soulmates, finding lost things is Archangel Shamuel. So I invite you to check them out. I speak with them often, and they're two really awesome angels. They have a different energy than some of our usual friends, like Gabriel and Michael, Uriel, angels like that. They have a more feminine energy to them, though I do get the distinct vibe that Shamuel can go both, either encompass the male or the female energy. Okay, so what it says, this is what it looks like. This is not a time for excitement and anxiousness. This is a time to sit quietly, calmly, and contemplate what you truly desire. Give the situation time to unfold, then make your choices. You are where you are supposed to be, doing what you are meant to do. So the choice is yours, how you proceed. Feel safe and know that we only send you energy from the vibration of love. We support your choices in love, but make sure you make your choices with unconditional love in your heart. Also, as I was writing this, strangely, because I'm listening to meditative music as I do this, the song Jet by Wings, Paul McCartney and Wings, popped into my head, and I felt, oh geez, I probably should write that down because it's strange. Haven't heard the song on the radio or anything. It must mean something. And so I went further into that and looked it up because I was like, what the heck? I really didn't have any idea what that possibly could have meant because it's a pop song, came out in the 70s. It's kind of a whimsical song, doesn't have a lot of sense to it. So I thought there's got to be more to that. So I looked up what the heck Paul McCartney meant when he wrote the song. And here, the name of the song is after he and Linda's pony, Jet. And what got me was that he and Linda were discussing how he and the Beatles used to write songs and how more nonsensical and whimsical their songs were, the more inspired they felt musically. And so she said, why don't you take that process that you used to do to write this song? And so what he did was he went out into nature, hiked for a good ways till he was alone and in the middle of nature. He could sit and let nature and the earth inspire him to write this song. And that is exactly what he did. So that's where it clicked with me. I was like, going back to the beginning of our reading here, where we have all these earthly symbols, and we know that if you remember from the beginning of the general part of Spirit's message, that grounding and being part of nature and recognizing nature and the symbols in nature are part of the lessons that we're learning right now. So before I go and interpret the rest of our cards, I just wanted to put out there that I felt either one of two things that this had to deal with, or maybe both. That if you do have questions or are unsure about moving forward in a love situation or a choice within your current love situation, or how to proceed to find a love situation, that going out into nature, grounding yourself, really listening to what the universe has to tell you in that meditative space, it will clear your head, it will inspire you. The other was, Paul and Linda, if anybody knows the story of Paul McCartney and Linda McCartney, Paul was not in the Beatles any longer, or was at the tail end of the Beatles when the two of them got together. But they were definitely kindred souls. I tend to think maybe they were twin flames. And I know he's a very spiritual person and believes a lot in the things that we here at Enlighten My World also believe in. Maybe someday he'll watch this and say, oh my gosh, they're talking about me and Linda. But maybe that song was just a reminder of an open, true twin flame or soulmate connection that we all can look back on and say, oh, that's what it looks like. Great inspiring songs came from Wings too, and a lot of the humanitarian work and philanthropy work that Paul later did was inspired by Linda, and I think there's some pretty big foundations in her name too. So obviously they were something. Maybe we won't call it twin flame, but they were something. The next card is from the Well-Worn Path, and it is the Eightfold Path. So I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Here. I just want you to look at the graphics on there, see the picture and things like that, okay? And then finally, this is from the Doreen Virtue's Ascended Masters deck, which is unfortunately no longer in print. This is persistence. So, what does this mean? What does this mean? Okay, appreciate this moment. So, going from our previous part of our reading, I'd say that very soon, if not already, some of you watching this video may have I feel like from what we've seen previously about clearing stuff out and balancing and the feelings of nostalgia and reuniting in our tarot reading, that you're soon, this was the future card in our reading, which is the Princess of Wands. I think possibly you're going to be getting some communication from someone, whether it be a new someone or someone from the past. So I do feel that it's someone you have previously known, whether you had a romantic relationship with them or not. For those of you who are currently in a relationship, maybe in union, married, I feel that there has been, probably because of this time of purging that you're having and going through this awakening and this dark night of the soul that you've recently experienced, maybe the communication hasn't been so great in your current relationship and things have been a little hairy, maybe even, stagnated. And I think because of your rebirth here, I think that relationship is about to have a rebirth. So I think what they're saying is, when this happens, which is coming very soon, I'm getting 1111, which is the twin flame number. That doesn't mean it has to be twin flame, but the energy of twin flame is that soulmate, that love relationship, creating something together, co-creating. I do think that it's saying, don't rush into anything. Don't rush. Let's just appreciate where we're at right now. Stop trying to assign it something. Stop trying to plan. Just be in that moment. Listen to what this person has to say. Listen, maybe they want to make amends if they've done something, or they feel they've done something to you. Maybe they want to tell you what's been going on with them. But this is a time to just sit back and enjoy, the beginning of this process. Because as we saw before, there definitely, it was like the main card there in the situation as it's happening. And that is, the beginning of a love relationship, a major love offering. And again, here we have the Princess of Cups, which is, these are two offerings. This is an offering of love. They're not too big. And this is an offering of communication. So though they are not great offerings as far as, something large, this is. Okay? So to me, these are small steps toward obtaining this greater love. So it's saying don't push things. Some people have to take their time. I don't know what's happened in your situation. Is this something that maybe they're fearful, they're a little skittish because they know they've done wrong. They know that you might bite, literally or figuratively, however you want to look at that. But they are a little frightened. So, first we're just going to get, oh, my camera's falling over. First we're just going to get a little communication going on. Good. Take that time, enjoy that, appreciate it, bask in it. Okay? Maybe they want to tell you their feelings, have a conversation about it. It is all leading, I'm going to put this over here so you can see that, to this. So for right now, just be in the moment. Stop trying to rush things. Stop trying to assign titles to things. It is what it is, and we're going to be grateful for that. And remember, up here, we have this balancing of justice. I think that's what this person wants to do. Just remember that. There is a cleaning up that needs to happen, but this cleaning up is within you. And it may be your physical space. Maybe you need to make room for this new relationship to come in. Maybe, oh my God, I apologize for that. So let's do, still continue doing your self-work. Continue doing what you need to do for you. Clearing that root chakra, those things. But in the meantime, let this happen. This balancing is going to happen. Remember, you have spirit working with you. You have your deceased loved ones and angels working with the two of you, okay, to bring this relationship completely into fruition, okay? But this is someone coming back from your past or a current relationship you currently are in, being rekindled, having a resurgence of love energy. And here it is. Remember we saw, this is resurgence. This is something you thought was lost and gone is coming back to you. You now see things clearly. You can now depend on them. The other card we got was from our well-worn path, which is Eightfold Path. This card pertains to, there's no more planning. All right, stop planning. This is a time to take what you know and make a decision. So it's not saying you have to be with this person, okay? Maybe something, maybe they weren't the greatest to you. Maybe things did go down. But also, maybe you didn't see the whole picture. Maybe you weren't completely aware of what was going on in their life, and they want you to know now. But they're saying this isn't a time to be rash and rush to the finish line, because relationship is still part of the journey. A relationship itself is a journey. There is no destination in a relationship. The relationship is, if you're running together on in a marathon, which is what life is, you can run solo, and sometimes people come up and they run with you. And maybe if you fall down, they pick you up. And if they fall down, they pick you up. You share water, whatever. But you run together. There's no, oh, now there's person's here. I'm going to stop the marathon and we're going to pull over on the side of the road and live in the woods. That's not how it works. You have to keep moving forward. You move forward with someone or alone. But, and that's what Spirit is saying in the letter here, is that you can move forward. That is your choice. Do I want to move forward with them, or do I want to move forward alone? The choice is yours. They support you in whatever, but don't make your decision rashly. Listen to what they have to say. Learn. That's what this card means. Learn first, then decide. This card also is telling you, and I believe Spirit is telling you, this is something. It's not something that has to happen, but it absolutely has the potential to happen. So maybe the relationship, if you are in a current relationship and you're thinking to yourself, I don't know if I want to go further with this. I don't know if I can't trust that he's not or she's not going to continue with the bad behaviors that they have been having, even though I've spoken to them. That's okay, but don't make your decision out of emotion. Don't make your decision out of reaction. You have to listen and then take that time, like Paul McCartney says, to go into nature and ground yourself. Now that might mean laying in the bathtub and meditating. It might mean go for a run outside, but take time and the messages will come to you. If you do make the decision to stay or to rekindle something with somebody, know that's all part of the journey, and there's nothing easy about a relationship. It's not supposed to be easy. It is work. Anyone who's been married or in a long-term relationship knows it is work to keep it together. I also wanted to point out that this is the eightfold path, and we have 2 8s up there. So definitely mark that down in your synchronicity journal or whatever you keep, where you write down your synchronicities for the day, because 888 is a very significant number. And the fact that this is related to your love relationship, that's your homework. Check out what 888 means as it pertains to love, okay? But moving on. Remember, the fruits will be worth the toil. So though this is not going to be easy, okay? He's taking baby steps. She's taking baby steps. This definitely, and it's not even, there's no overwhelming divine feminine, divine masculine, though these are all feminines here, energy. But look, it's both sides. This is the person, and this is you. So who knows who's which side? And this is definitely divine masculine. So we have a little bit of everybody in there. Just remember, the relationship is part of the journey. The relationship itself is a journey. It is not a destination. So this is about mastering, okay? This is about obtaining everything needed for mastery. However, there's still learning along the path, okay? There's still lessons left to be learned, but this time it's together. So think of this relationship as a time of schooling in your life's journey, in your ascension process. Don't rush your lessons. Take your time. There's no cramming for tests here. Spirit says this is not a time for excitement and anxiousness. This is a time to sit quietly, calmly, and contemplate what you truly desire. I think that's part of that going into nature thing too. I think they really have this desire for you to go into nature and really meditate there. I think a lot of your answers that you're searching for, you're gonna find in your grounding process in the earth, in Gaia's energy. Well, if you look at the card, there is an acorn. And on that acorn, you probably can't see, but there's an infinity symbol. Okay. There's a candle. There's an inkwell and a quill. I think that whenever you see a quill and an inkwell, those are usually symbols of tradition, passing on knowledge. I think in this case, it's kind of take what you've learned on this longer journey, in recent times with the purging, but this whole year has been an immense experience, at least for myself. I know many of us on this path have experienced some amazing things, but also a lot of turmoil. This has not been an easy time of awakening, and my awakening process started a very long time ago, but like in any normal developmental human process, it's come in spurts, like growth spurts, and 5 years ago I was really like walloped with this awakening, and it is just progressively increased. And I know that many people on the wavelength that I'm on, they seem to have started 5 years ago as well. So I don't know what was with, the year 2014, 2015, but I think some starseed awakening happening then. Some light worker activity was going on cosmically, and it's just pushed. And in this last year, it has been a surge of growth. Very, very painful times, and also very wonderful times of grace. So I'm very grateful for that. And I hope those of you who are on the same energy wavelength with me on this divine love path are feeling the joy that's in this turmoil, because there is, and I think we just haven't seen the proof in the pudding yet. So that's what this is telling you. This is a time, we've come so far and we've dealt with so much that we're like, oh, come on, I'm either done or let's get into this, right? And they're saying, understandable, and that's up to you. But on either side, please don't rush into, I'm done with this, and don't rush into, all right, let's go get married next week at the Justice of the Peace, you're in it now. You're about to be in what's been driving you crazy for all this time. And you're ready to go. And they're ready to go too, but it's another phase. This is a new beginning. Okay? So, you can't force a kid to walk. They get bow-legged, right? You can't force this relationship to walk. It's still in an infantile stage, though it doesn't seem that way because this process has been so long. And for some of us, we've known these people for a long time and gone through a lot of crap with them. But that doesn't mean that we rush into it, because you have to remember, the person you were a year ago is not who you are today. The person you were 5 years ago is absolutely not who you are today. You have gone through a massive, massive change in a very positive way. And though you have the same memories and you look alike, although some of us have changed significantly in 5 years physically, just that's part of the way you think and the way you see the world. You don't realize how drastic it is. And someone who may have been close with you over a period of time and hasn't been that close with you in recent times, it would be shocking to them. And maybe they would be like, who the heck are you? You need to kind of give them a chance for you to reintroduce yourself to them as this new and improved you. And though you may not see it yet, they too have changed, and they too have evolved, and they too have awakened. Maybe not quite to the extent that you have, but they too have a different way of seeing the world and viewing the world. And this is a time to learn about that. So you really are, though you may have known this person your whole life, or 10 years or 5 years or a year, you have to get reintroduced to them, and they you. Give it time. And what this card is telling you, absolutely, from our guided masters, Lao here, is this is not time to slack off on, once this starts coming about, you're going to be very excited. You're going to want to start texting all the time, and you will get enveloped by those feelings of love, which can make you rush and not enjoy the moment. You get your bowl of ice cream and you devour it and never taking the time to actually taste the chocolate and enjoy it. So this is reminding you, don't forget your path. Don't let this interfere and take away from where your mind needs to be. Don't stop your practices. Don't stop meditation. Don't stop getting out into nature, your sacred baths, learning your own spiritual evolution, the practices that you've been doing. Maybe you didn't expose your counterpart to that part of you before because you weren't quite awakened, or just stuff you were interested in. Maybe you start showing them this side of yourself, because this is now a big part of who you are. And you don't want to jump into a relationship with anyone who isn't also open to the possibility of what your spiritual practice is. Remember that they've had an awakening too. So maybe if they were that atheist or agnostic, or maybe they had a very strong religious doctrine in one direction, Maybe through their awakening, they've opened up a little bit and started accepting, the idea of us all being energy and more new age philosophies. That would be great if they came upon that on their own and didn't need our guidance. Or maybe they might be further ahead as far as knowledge goes with this stuff than you are, which would be awesome because now you have a teacher. But know that it's here. Okay, so if you've been wondering and you're like, oh my God, it is here. Remember, don't be too stingy with, letting them in, but also don't be too giving. You want to have a good balance there, and that's where that balancing the scales comes from up here. And remember, you're not done doing the work on yourself. You've done a lot of work. You've done a lot of healing, and it's about time to move into the time of your life where the healing is now done together, which is beautiful. But that's still not an easy road. There's, you've gone through it and it's been torturous alone. It's not going to be all peaches and cream together either. You're going to have to be helping someone else through their dark nights of the soul while they help you through your dark nights of the soul. So there is more healing to be done, more karmic cleansing from past lives and things like that to be done. It'll just be done together, which is wonderful. This is a beautiful thing. I'm very excited. So if things like this have started to happen for you, I would be very excited to know about it. I'll definitely pray for you and your counterpart. If those of you who are already together with someone, your relationship is on a road to be rebirth and rekindling, please let me know about it. This stuff really gets me excited. And if you're interested in going further on a personal level, I'd be more than happy to do a private reading with you. So send me an email, okay? enlightenmyworld@yahoo.com. I send you guys lots of love. And if you are interested in knowing about your career and finances and what those new beginnings have to behold for you, then please stay tuned for our pick a topic number 2. Welcome back. This is about our abundance. Topic 2 is about our career and finances, our material abundance that's coming to us. Before I even look at the cards, I have cards from 3 different decks that I wanted to utilize, and I have a channeled letter to you from Spirit. This one is specifically from Archangel Michael. I'm just going to lay out what cards we got and read our letter and then start to into it. And we have our general reading from Spirit and the remainder of the tarot cards from our tarot reading over here, which I may reference to bring us back to, maybe further understand the first part of the reading that we all listened to together. So let's see where we're at. Oh, I was telling you, I am getting a very strong feeling about this, and Spirit is telling me that this is less about money and more about situational change that will ultimately lead to more financial abundance. So we are in the infancy stage of something here, but it's the infancy stage with mastery. When you are a kid, when you're a little kid and you're going through school, we go through elementary school and into middle school. Some of us, go 1st through 8th, and then some go 1st to 6th, and then, or 1st to 5th, and then 6th to 8th. But it's kind of like one long process, and you're aging and developing all along the way, and you're learning all along the way. Then it's time to go to high school, and that's a big deal, right? And it's a totally different world, totally different school, sometimes different people, and it's very exciting and it's very frightening. However, in order for you to get there, you have to take that knowledge that you were given in 1st to 8th grade, so you've mastered that, and now you're going in not an infant who has no knowledge of anything. You're going in with all this knowledge that you've hopefully gained from life, from school, from people, up into this point. Hopefully our battery's about to die again, though I fully charged it. That was just crazy, but again, we're doing spiritual work. I'm not surprised that happened. So let's get it going before we die here. All right, so first we have Doreen Virtue's Archangel Gabriel card, birth, new life, such as a baby, an idea, happy news, or an exciting project blossoms within and around you. I do have to say, though a baby we would consider part of our family life, definitely part of our love, relationships, things like that, understand that for some of you, this may be the new beginning. And it's definitely it's a material new beginning. It's something you manifest literally, with your body, whether you're male or female. You manifest this, okay? That for some of you, you may be finding out you're pregnant if you have been trying. Maybe you haven't been trying, but just be aware that for some of you, this may be it. Or someone in your family, like if you're a parent of an adult child, you may be finding out that they are pregnant. But this is definitely not in the gestation, the middle of the gestation stage. This is either you're finding out you're pregnant or you're about to give birth. Because we've finished something and our new beginning is starting. So it's either the new beginning of pregnancy or you're actually someone who's, close to giving birth in the next few weeks. This could be you too. Or someone you care about, that you would be involved in that child's life. But I digress. That doesn't mean that's not everybody. I'm just saying don't discount that, or don't just look at this card and think baby, because it could mean the birth of, a new business or a new home, new ideas, new projects, anything like that. So I'm going to read our letter that was channeled to me. It says, this is a time to watch what unfolds before you. Do not worry about planning or what the next step is. This is the time of your awakening. You are on your divine path right now. You will see the steps appear before you. Action will be inspired. You will be given each task as it comes. Your job now is to truly be guided. Stop trying to plan. Stop trying to control what's happening next. Stop trying to find out. Stop anticipating your next step and maintain your faith. We are here as your guides. You need not fear a thing. And as I said that, the song, I don't know, for those of you who were raised Catholic, the song Be Not Afraid came into my head actually with my grandmother, who's one of the closest people to me on this planet, who is now in spirit. It was her voice singing it. She was in the church choir and had this beautiful alto voice, and it was distinctly her singing, Be not afraid. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest. I think I don't need to say any more of the lyrics. That pretty much says it. And for those of you who are maybe connected with Christian doctrine, I do not subscribe to any particular doctrine or push any. I was raised Catholic. However, I've expanded my views since then, though my foundation stays firm in love one another, golden rule, and that the universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it, is always with us, and there is absolutely no reason to fear the unknown and what we're about to go into, because they walk with us. They walk with us side by side through it. And there's 2 Bible verses that you might want to check out that correspond, that some of you might be inspired. I was asked to write these down, and that's Isaiah 41:10 and John 6:20. I give that to those of you who might want to check that out, and those of you, even if you weren't raised in the Christian faith, there might be something in those words that you need to see or hear, okay? Because remember, spirit comes to us in all ways, through music, through song. Just remember that, okay? You're about to embark on something really wonderful and exciting, but it is scary because it's new. They want you to know you're awakened now and it is time. That we're not even at the part where, oh, here it comes, no, you're there. The choices have been put in front of you. It is about time to go down. Okay, so let's look at what the well-worn path has. This is a deck I was given as a gift by my ex-husband. Strangely, it's one of the few very considerate. He gave me lots of gifts. I'm not saying one of the few gifts, but this was so pertinent and specific to me that I was amazed when he gave it to me, this deck. And hopefully I get to share more of this deck with you in future readings, but for today, it's one card per reading. This is Words of the Magus, and we'll look further into what that means in a minute. And our last card is from our Ascended Masters by Doreen Virtue, which is no longer in print, sadly. So I try to take very good care of this. Retreat into Nature, the Green Man. And look at the cute little fairies down the bottom. And they're holding the heart. And there's also, it looks like, some yellow flowers there. I don't know if that means anything very specific to anybody. Just look close. If there's anything else in the card that might mean something to you very specifically. Means something to your heart. Maybe that man looks like somebody you know. I don't know. Maybe it looks like your boss. So, or your boss to be. So, the birth card is definitely straight up. There's a new beginning. We had these 3 aces over here. Let me get them out from our tarot. Okay. So there you go. There's your 4th new beginning card. All right. We got Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, and Ace of Cups. That's a lot of new beginning. And then we got the birth card, which specifically means new beginning. I think that's pretty cool. And if you look back at our original cards, we have this guy, which is, almost like the phoenix rising from the ashes, though it's the clearing away of what we thought was gone and dead, and only to find that it's been there the whole time and to start new from there with strength. All right, words of the Magus. So what this card means in general is that you have completed and accomplished everything that you need on your journey thus far. Okay, you're not going to go any further where you're at. At this point, you will stay stunted. And if you stay where you are, that doesn't mean necessarily like quit your job. What it means is maybe the position you have in your job, you need to seek, another one that's in a different position or higher up, or has different responsibilities. But it's time to change that. And I'm guessing if we're getting all these new beginning cards, that if you haven't already recognized what this is, you very soon will recognize it. I hope my computer doesn't die, my camera. I'm seeing spirit all in the room now, and they're coming back in, and I'm like, please, don't mess with my battery again. You've come to this point of mastery, so now you're going to look to your higher vision, your higher purpose. To know, to will, to dare, and to keep silent. Okay, those are the credo of the Magus, and it says it on here. I don't know if you can see that. All right, to keep silent. So it's time again. We're starting school again. It could be literal school. Some of you may have completed where you're at. You graduated high school and you are now in the process of starting college. Some of you may have completed a certification or some level of education and are ready to move into the next one. Maybe you're getting a master's degree or something like that, but you have completed where you're at and you're starting fresh. And it is a learning experience because remember, everything is part of the journey. There is no destination. So you may think your destination is graduation, but really that's just the leg of the race, right? Because the destination is our life. The journey is the destination. You know, the experiences along the way and how we enjoy them. So if you notice in the picture, again, that the path disappears into the brush in this picture, and this means that you're ready to start into the unknown again, and that is scary. But the difference is that you have the knowledge now. You have that knowledge moving forward with the mastery that you've learned. But you are starting on the path as this learned student into the unknown. The difference now is your faith is a lot stronger than previous new beginnings. And it's established. And the universe has earned your trust, especially in this past year with all that's gone on and all that you've experienced. You know that it's time, you know, to move on, and you can feel safe in that. You can feel safe that the universe does have your back. And then this has been told to us throughout. It was told to us in the pick a card for love romance. It was told to us all at the beginning. So those of us who are here in this reading today, it is really important that we get into nature and ground ourselves. I think a lot of our inspiration and the questions we might have about what's next, what do I do, how do I do it, they're going to come to us in nature. Maybe the leftover of that healing can be done in nature, alone, that is, not with other people, and definitely don't bring children with you. But we need to revive that energy, and I'm being told that that's where the steps will be revealed. So if your question, like it said in this letter, you know, the steps, where did it say? Blah, 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 stop anticipating, la, la, la. You will see the steps appear before you. I think maybe, you know, by going out into nature, letting Gaia inspire you, feeling that energy from above and below fill you, being in the sun basking or sun bathing, not in the get a suntan sense, but in the bathing in the energy of the sun, the old sense. Soak it in, you know, and meditate, and what you're given, that those steps will be revealed to you. So if you've been like, I don't know what to do next, I don't know which decision to make, how do I know if I should apply for this particular job, I think that's where you're going to get your answers. But just know that you're supported. You can take that leap of faith. You really can. They are guiding you. This is the time to do it. And I'd say you will be on this next leg of your journey by the new year. By January of 2020, you are going to be on that journey, on that path, you know, fully solidified into it. Abundantly, you will be supported. I don't even see anywhere where you're going to have like a lag where you have to kind of dip down for a little bit until you can build up again. This is either smooth sailing straight across for you, where your finances, you don't even feel a difference going from one, because I know that that's a big fear for many of us, is that, oh my gosh, like if I make this leap, am I going to be able to sustain a living for myself and my family? If, you know, if I do this, like, how do I know? It's real easy to have complete faith and go on what you're told when it's just you and you're all you have to worry about. But when you support others and when you have children, that is really, 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 really hard to do. How do you do that? How do you, all right, I'm going to take a leap. They're saying directly, like, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. If you need to get your footing and financially really feel your way, they're going to provide the steps to do that. So that's why they're not saying jump now. They're saying the new beginning is here. Stop worrying about what's going to happen next and planning. the steps will appear before you. So they're not saying jump off into the abandoned. They're saying the new thing is here, and, or multiple new things are here. You have the knowledge. You can do this. You're going to be fine. We're going to tell you what to do next, okay? So your homework for this is go into nature and meditate. I would bring a journal or something with me so that as I get this inspiration, I can write it down and then remember it, but definitely make sure you're alone. I know, those of us who have families and have hectic jobs and stuff, we don't always get a time where we can take an hour to ourselves and go into nature every day, but that's not what they're asking. They're saying, just go do it now. Like find a time within the next few days, maybe over the weekend, where you can get away by yourself for like an hour. We're not saying a whole weekend retreat. If you can do that, that's amazing. Do it. Go hiking, camping, whatever. But for those of us who that's not really an option, just, take time for like an hour to go out and find out what those next steps are. But I have a feeling everyone who's got into this reading today knows what this new beginning has to do with. Absolutely. Okay, so with that, I say please feel free to continue watching to the next pick a topic. If you didn't look at the first one and you feel that you want to know a little bit about your romantic life and how things are going there, please feel free to go back and watch the first one if you haven't already. And I'm excited for you. So if things are popping up, if you're getting job offers, or if you're ready to start your own business, or if you are just found out you're pregnant or you give birth tomorrow, whatever, please comment below. Of course, if you gave birth tomorrow, wait, about a week till you feel a little chill and not so hectic and in pain. And things have calmed down before you comment. But I absolutely would love to hear from you and find out how your abundance is showing up. We need to stick together and learn together. And I think the more we see each other profiting and getting better and moving forward in this awakening process, the more it inspires all of us, and we can share together. And I definitely, as I learn things and things happen with myself or other of our Enlightened World, family, we definitely will share with you too, because this is a journey that we're all on together. And I love you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye. Well, hello there, topic 3, folks. Family relationships and children, friendships, things like that is what this reading is going to delve into. I have pre-selected some cards from 3 decks here, which I have placed out here for you to see. The Doreen Virtue, Mary Queen of the Angels Oracle deck, the Ascended Masters by Doreen Virtue Oracle deck, which is no longer in print, which is sad, so I try to covet these, take good care of them. And this is a deck, I don't even know where the box is anymore, that I had I'd been given many years ago, I think like 15 years ago, called The Well-Worn Path. It's a really cool, unique, different way of looking at tarot. It's kind of like a cross between tarot and oracle cards, but it also gives very specific information, guidance to different specific areas of your life. So I like to use this. Over here are our tarot cards from our original reading, and up here are our oracle cards from our original reading. So hopefully we can integrate some of that previous knowledge into our new reading. I'm going to read out the cards first before I begin to intuit. I do have a letter written by Spirit for you here. For that specifically, this is going to be about family. So though I said other relationships, friendships, family, children, it's going to be definitely directed to things such as your children and family members. honestly don't remember because this was channeled to me what exactly it's about, but we'll find out. Okay. From the Well-Worn Path, the Book of Shadows. Let me see up close so you can see any symbolism in there that might mean something to you. Hope it's clear. Boundaries is our Blessed Mother, excuse me, card. I am clear and honest with others about my expectations. And 2 cards popped out from our Ascended Masters deck. Follow your heart, St. Francis of Assisi, and Work Your Magic, which is St. Germain. I thought that was interesting, being that we use Blessed Mother here, because these are 2 Catholic saints, and this deck is full of everybody, from Ganesh to Loki, you name it. So there's not just Christian or Catholic references in this deck, so it's kind of neat. And I think that maybe this is definitely calling out, maybe Spirit wants to talk, is definitely pinpointing some specific people that are watching this video for this section of the general reading for our new moon in Scorpio in October. Okay, the irony of that is this is a Wiccan card. So there's that. Okay, so let's read our letter first here. This is our letter. Turn to us, and you will have the knowledge. There comes a time when all you can do is trust. Remember your foundation. Pray, ask, and know that we are with you and we love you. I was given in my head as I was channeling this, the Hindu Vedas 1 and 2, which is Dharma Akara and Dharma Svagriya, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, pardon me if I'm not, were guided to me. So I felt the need to look up what the heck that means, and I found out that Dharmakara means righteous conduct. These Vedas are specifically the Vedas that pertain to parenting, though the Hindu doctrine doesn't usually go into it. It's just what you should do. It's part of the natural process. Being a parent doesn't hold over anyone or set you apart from anyone. It's just part of what you're supposed to do. So these dharmas aren't just about parenting, but these were scripts that I was able to find specifically when these came to me, what they meant as they pertain to parenting. So Dharma Akara, which is righteous conduct, specifically is speaking about behaving the way you want your children to behave. So in other words, you know, what we do, they see. The old adage, do as I say, not as I do. They're saying that is not the way to parent, which I kind of agree with that. And that if you want your children to be a certain way and live a certain virtue system, that you need to live it. You need to show them that. So you can take your children to church every Sunday, which is great, but if during the week you're drinking openly, drunken, staggering in the house, going out gambling, or cursing all the time, or screaming at everybody in the household, I'm not saying anybody who's watching this does that, but that would be juxtaposed to what you're trying to instill in your children. They're going to behave absolutely more by what you do than by what you say. Then the other one was Dharma Svagriya, which is worship at home. Share, my interpretation, share your awakening with your children. Do not keep it all to yourself. Pray with them, which I believe means display your faith and tradition openly with your children. Teach your children to awaken with you. There's no reason why we have to, have a secret, escape every once a week or multiple times a week where we go to yoga class. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. I'm saying, why do we do that and then not bring it home? And if you've watched my video discussing what we at Enlighten My World do, we actually cover this, which is kind of interesting because I had never read these Vedas before. That how can you be awakening as a spiritual person and coming into this new phase of your existence, yet the people that have been bestowed to us the responsibility of teaching them to be wonderful contributors to society, you're not sharing this with. We often keep this stuff private and keep it hidden, like it's voodoo or something like that. And this is our belief system. It's no different than when you're growing up and your parents are taking you to whatever denomination of church or temple or synagogue that they take you to. Our beliefs are no different, and we hold a righteousness over people like, oh, I'm enlightened, I'm awakening. But are you sharing that with the people in your life? If you're not openly expressing your views and talking about it with your children and praying with your children, teaching them to meditate, showing them how to do yoga, integrating all those practices that you're bringing into yourself for balance into your children. Are you doing Reiki on your children or taking them to get Reiki done to them? Are you showing them about crystals and letting them find an interest and take the healing with them? Giving them some to put in a pocket at school so that they do well on a test? Or are you having them, do you have a family grimoire where you write down this stuff and share it with them and say, when you're older, you're going to get this and add to it? Are you letting them pick an affirmation card? Do you have affirmations written around your house? These are all really important things. And I am totally digressing, but I feel that there's probably some of you out there needed to hear that as a little eye-opener. I do also want to point out that in this card here with St. Francis of Assisi, there are doves and a little lamb in there. The doves sparked my attention. I've always associated the dove with Holy Spirit, but dove is also a symbol of love, divine love, partnering. I'm not getting much more on that, so maybe that's specific to certain people, just that I was meant to bring that up. So I'm going to put this a little bit out of order. So it looks to me, those of you who were guided to listen to this particular pick a topic, that your guidance, first of all, the letter was intuited from Spirit to me. Spirit as in passed on loved ones, but it was a general group, like I don't know how to explain the way it comes to me. It comes as if they were speaking in unison, so there was multiple people. So I'm guessing maybe some of the people that who came in on the same energy wavelength for the beginning of the reading, the spirit reading, that is, may have been participating in intuiting that to me and putting those Vedas in my head as well. So I'm going to read this a little bit out of order because the way the message is coming to me as it connects. So those of you who are listening to this are definitely a specific group, because you're parents. Okay, so not everyone who listened to any of this reading today, not everyone were parents, but this group specifically, if they are not currently parents, are soon going to be parents in some capacity. That could be through guardianship, through adoption, as well as through the natural childbirth means. So those of you who are parents and were guided to this, there's definitely a feeling of unsureness. So I'm going back to our tarot reading and our other cards here where you're preparing for something. So I think that, and if you go to the number 2 reading, which talks about your abundance and your financial part of your life that's happening right now, I think that might also connect with you. So you might want to go back and listen to that, the number 2 reading, part of the reading. But this to me very much says, for many of you, or some of you, that somebody is about to have a child. Okay? All of these make sense with that. Cleaning up right before you're about to give birth, a few months before you start nesting, which is the cleaning and the getting the bedroom ready and buying the furniture, and it's almost like a compulsion. You can't help but get your house ready, similar to what birds do when they're about to lay eggs. The balancing of the scale, if there are issues with other family members, oftentimes the birth of a child is what bring people who haven't been together back together again, and that's a beautiful thing. You know, children have an amazing way of removing any animosities and things like that occur between people and their pettiness, you know, just going through our lives. And then a new baby is born, or you're around a toddler who's being cute, and it seems to all go away because what you do share is the love for that child. So I think in this case, if some of you are about to have a child or adopt a child, and you haven't been speaking to someone in your family or multiple people in your family, that make sure you open it up for all of them to share in that experience with you, because first of all, children are hopefully, if they're lucky enough, raised by more than just their parents. They're raised by an entire support system, and you as their parents absolutely cannot be the only people in this child's life. They need the full support of everyone. I know if I personally only had my 2 parents, who were wonderful parents, but in many ways were not wonderful parents, I also had my grandmother and my aunts and uncles. I had a very large Italian family, and it was an absolute gift for me. And my sons have since also had that. Without that, I would not be who I am today. I needed every single person's input, whether my parents wanted to be around their siblings and parents or not. And there were fights and there were family quarrels. However, I was not involved in that as a child. My cousins and my brothers and I were not involved in that. And that was such an important part of my life, having each of those people. I learned things from, they would teach me about music and cooking and my faith. My faith was absolutely instilled in me by being exposed to all of the people in my family. So if you do have any kind of separation going on right now from your family, and I understand my family can be toxic, my parents can be toxic, that doesn't mean that they should not be in my life or in my children's life. Now, if they become abusive or things like that, that's a different story. But only you can allow yourself to be someone's victim. So, and you can choose to not allow that. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes a person just can't be in your life, and that's understandable. Just know that through bringing this new beginning into your home. And some of you may be getting married too. That's also a new beginning. But this, where you're merging families, when I say that, so there's multiple children already exist coming together into one family, and maybe making amends with an ex or something like that. I'm not saying becoming friends with them or anything. I'm saying let's clear some of the bad air, so that union, when it comes together, can be fresh and beautiful and new, because all the negative energy has been washed away, to start over, and to build this foundation that we talked about back here in our tarot. This foundation, this may have been if you had a marriage that did not work out, you and your new soon-to-be spouse, this breaking down of the negative had to happen. That wasn't a good marriage, for whatever reason, so this broke down. But the foundation of who you are and that family is still there. So we need to build it back up by clearing out from ourselves what doesn't need to be there, balancing the scales, and coming back even stronger into this new family with clarity, and then knowing that you can depend on each other in this new relationship. Okay? So, as far as the children thing go, and this absolutely is the case when you're blending a family, the boundaries need to be set. Okay? Children do not like boundaries. Nobody likes boundaries. However, as human beings, we crave them. We absolutely need them. Without them, no structure can be built. No good foundation in them can be created. They absolutely need boundaries. If you raise children free to make their own choices and live however, they do not have the developmental processing to make the right decisions. So what we do is we give them selected choices that we have chosen, but they still feel autonomy in that they get to make decisions in their lives. But we don't let them make aimless choices. They're children. We give them 2 or 3 choices and say, here's this one, this one, this one. Which one do you like? And if they say, I don't like any of them, say, well, those are your choices. I'm sorry. Children need boundaries. I definitely feel a very strong need to say this and really preface it. For some of you who may be watching, you know why this is so important. I feel that there's a situation, maybe in a few of you listening, where there's some major disrespect happening verbally with your children, and you're just really unsure how to deal with that. And maybe the way you have done things previously, just trying to be more open and I don't know the word, more open, free parent. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but for those of you who have kind of let things be willy-nilly for a while, maybe it worked and it was fine during the majority of their childhood, but they've reached a point now where the boundaries are important, and they're fighting against you because they haven't really had significant boundaries until now. That's okay. They will survive. They will dislike you and have more therapy bills later if you do not put these boundaries up. And if things happen and they make bad decisions and you have placed these boundaries there, you know that you've done your best job. You've done your part as a parent. When I say boundaries, I don't mean to be, you need to be over strict or ground them, or maybe you do, I don't know. But it is so important that you have an established structure in your household. If there is not a bedtime, it's really important for children to have a bedtime. Their Krebs cycles, their actual physical body's development requires them to have a bedtime. Otherwise, they can become sick. Their immune systems don't develop properly. There's so many problems that can coincide with a child that does not have a bedtime, and it does need to be earlier, not just when, they give me a hard time, so I let them stay up till. You really can't do that. It's unhealthy. They need at least 8 hours of sleep, if not more, when they're in the developmental phases. Their bodies, that's when they're growing, and all those things are happening to their bodies. It happens during their sleep, and so if they're not getting enough, they're not properly developing, and their brains are the most important part that need that development. And as adolescents, well, forget, you have to give them boundaries. They absolutely will step all over the universe if you do not give them specific boundaries. Do not be afraid to not be their friend. I know that those of us who are a little bit more woo woo and hippy dippy, we tend to I apologize if the camera just blurred. I think Spirit's sucking up my battery again. This is just really important that we do this, and they're really pushing me to emphasize this. So those of you who need to, please look into parenting classes, behaviorism, Skinner. I could go down the list, but this is really, really important. And how you do this, there's lots of books out there. If you want more information, I do specialize in this, as do a lot of my fellow enlighteners. Please email me. I will help you. I can help you to design behavior plans, family chore charts, you name it. I have done it, and they work. I've used them personally in my own home, but I've used them with countless behavioral students and children as well, in school and in their homes. So if this is calling out to somebody, I'm really being pushed to that, please feel free to email me at enlightenmyworld@yahoo.com, and just let me know in the subject, say behavioral help, and I'll know. Okay, that one's really pushing right now. So let's go to the well-worn path here. This is the Book of Shadows, which is about your foundation, because the Book of Shadows is the grimoire. It's the book that your family's story is written into, and in witchcraft, this is the book where spells and rituals and things like that are written down. But every tradition has something similar to this. I know, and I actually have it right here. My family's Bible that my grandmother gave me was given at somebody's christening, and the family tree is written in it, and some stories. That's not very different than a grimoire. The difference is that there's a whole text written already into that, where this is written by only members of the family that would have contributed to this story. So I have more about this. I'm sorry, I'm intuiting here. So your foundation is what gives authenticity to your journey. Okay? The foundation that you're building, as well as the foundation of you and who you are. So any new beginnings that might be happening in relation to family, I feel that you might be a little scared, maybe if you are blending a family or about to have a new child in some capacity, or your child is about to cross over into, a new beginning themselves, maybe starting college for the spring semester, and you're a little nervous about that. Maybe your child is about to move out of the house, and that freaks you out a little bit. Maybe your child's about to start their first real job. Some kind of developmental milestone is the new beginning in this particular topic. Pick a topic. So what Spirit is telling me is for you to be grateful for where you came from. Embrace where you are right now, and look forward for what's to come. Look forward to what's about to come. So anticipate with excitement and enthusiasm, not worry. Let the worry go out there to the universe. Give that over to the angels and Spirit. They welcome taking that from you and transmuting it into different energy if you're unable to do that yourself. And ask for their help. They will guide you. And if you remember from and were able to listen to the first part of our spirit reading, I told a little story, and this, I think, maybe is why I was told to tell it, about my son and my worry with him. So I hope that that helped somebody who's listening out there that needed to hear that. Maybe you're having some issues with your adolescent child. And then it's okay to not have a clue. I know I've heard thousands of people say, and I say it myself, they don't give you a guidebook when you have children. You know, Doctor's Box doesn't count, and the what to expect when you're expecting and what to expect in the first 5 years, those are great manuals to reference, but that's all they are, is a manual, and not every child is the same, and therefore the same techniques do not work with them, and not every family is the same, and not every situation is the same. So there is no guidebook. You have to create it yourself, and that's what the Book of Shadows is about. It's our creation, it's our family. It's not some previously written text that I'm referencing, you know, but maybe if my mother wrote in it, I can reference back to her knowledge, and if I write in it, then my child can go back and reference it, their knowledge. So we build a history, a family history of information. I think maybe that's what the Book of Shadows is about. I'm not saying go start a grimoire and write information about parenting or witchcraft or whatever else, but I think this is just a symbol that you have the foundation in you, and you are building that foundation. Like, have faith in yourself. Know that you're doing your best, and Spirit's going to guide you and give you assignments as to what you need to do. But it is in you. You wouldn't have the questions in you if you wouldn't know the questions to ask if you didn't have the questions already within you. Okay? And then follow your heart and work your magic. So I think they're saying go with your instinct. You know what to do, what you feel is right. Even if it's going to therapy, or if following your heart means going to get help and ask someone how to do it, then you're doing what you're supposed to. If following your heart is, I know what I'm supposed to do, this is the action I'm going to take, you know, with my child or with my new beginning, it's saying you have the instinct. You know what to do. We have put that information in your heart, in your mind, in your body. You know what to do. Have more confidence in yourself as a parent. And then work your magic. Remember that you are magic. You have the gift. You are awakening. You have clarity. They are children. They do not have clarity. It's for us to teach them how to find their own clarity. And then back to this. Make sure you're sharing. You're sharing spirit with them. You're sharing your spiritual. That's going to do so much in the long run to avoiding many of these things, because if you're building a strong spiritual foundation in them, there's less need for you to create these, because they already have them intrinsically in their value system. So that's why it's so important that they know your value system. And we've come into a time where people don't even feel comfortable sharing their values and their morals with their own children. They'll share it on a blog and on Facebook and all other places, but then you ask their kid, you know, what religion are you, or what, you know, what do you think this particular story means? And they have no idea. And to me, when I hear that, that tells me, is anyone talking to this child in the household? We're forgetting how important it is to share who we are with our children. Talk to your children. They are human beings. They're not these little creatures who are annoying. Granted, they are little creatures who are annoying, but that's not all they are. They are your creation. They are your piece of clay that you, only you, and those who share in this gift with you, your family, your other families, friend families, whatever you want to call them, you are molding this child. And if that mold does not turn out the way you want it to, you absolutely are part of that. So, I mean, did children have parents who mold them in beautiful ways and all that, and then life happens and they end up... That absolutely happens. That, your creation cannot come out the way you want it to be sometimes. However, you're going to make your best effort to work your magic. Work your magic. See our sacred geometry here? I forget what this kind of star is called. But, practice balancing yourself. Oh, that was the other thing I forgot to mention. In the Vedas, and this is also something I preach all the time. So these Vedas are kind of cool. They go along with my brain. Make sure you're taking care of your own spiritual and physical and emotional health. You cannot produce and be the good parent you need to be if you're not preparing yourself and healing yourself and clearing yourself. And that goes back to here, that we do need to ground. We do need to clear, get rid of that extra residue. I never noticed this, but we have clarity and clarity here, the hangman and the clarity card. So I thank you so much for listening to our part 3 reading and our Scorpion new moon reading. It was a long one. I hope it benefited all of you who listened to it and watched it. And I wish you lots of luck and love. And I'll be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.